Have you ever been to hell and ended up in paradise? I sometimes get asked what is the most complete destination in Croatia, and without a doubt the answer would be, for me, Hvar Town, which is a destination which really has everything. The more I go there, the more I learn every time I go. It's the most diverse destination. It has such an embarrassment of riches in terms of things on offer. And here are 10 things that I think are amazing about Hvar, which taken together show the sheer diversity of the place. Number one, I mentioned hell earlier. In front of Hvar Town there are some incredible, beautiful islands called the Paklenski Otoci, or the Pakleni Islands. And the origin of the name is a little bit disputed. Some people think it comes from the Croatian word hell, pakao, and so they're sometimes translated as Hell Islands, while others say it comes from the word for resin, which was used to make ships in years gone by. But if this is hell, then honestly, what is heaven like? Because they are the most beautiful places I think I've ever been. There are so many different things on there that are absolutely fantastic to see, from great beaches, amazing nightlife, culture, there's an arboretum. And the second thing I think is fantastic is the naturist tourism on the Pakleni Islands. So there is a beautiful island called Jerolim, which is very small. You can get there by taxi boat within about 10-15 minutes. And in 2011, it was named as the #1 naturist beach in the world by CNN. And this is a fantastic place. You walk through the woods. There's a sign saying accepting nudists since 1896. And it's been the scene of like photo shoots from people like Vogue and so on like that. So the Pakleni Islands are just magical, and they must be an essential part of your trip to Hvar Town. Hvar Town itself is a very, very cultured place, and there are so many different levels of culture there to understand and be amazed by, including things like it has the oldest public theatre in all of Europe, which was opened in 1612, and that was reopened after renovation 2 years ago, and now they have incredible performances there. And this is on the main square, just above in the second floor of the Arsenal building as you enter on the right hand side. And just across the square you have the oldest organised tourism in Europe. This was back on May the 15th, 1868, when the Hvar Health Society, or the Hvar Hygienic Society, was formed. And this is credited as the oldest organised tourism in Europe, which celebrated 155 years in 2023. At the time, we had a lot of Austro-Hungarian aristocracy would come down and convalesce in the mild climate on this beautiful island nicknamed the Austrian Madeira. One of the great driving forces of that was the Empress Elizabeth, nicknamed Sisi, who was a great patron of the arts and of things, and she decided to finance the first hotel to push forward this Hvar Health Society. And she had a quote where she said, "I am a seagull of no land, I call no shore my home, I am bound to no place, I fly from wave to wave." It was her generous funding that established the first hotel, which was called Kurhotel Kaiserin Elizabeth, and it was completed in 1898 and officially opened in 1899. 120 years later, the first ever 5-star luxury hotel on the island opened on the very same spots, and in her honour was named Palace Elizabeth Heritage Hotel. And this now is a place where the organised tourism started, and you can look across with your cocktail and see the oldest public theatre in Europe while looking at the biggest square in Dalmatia. It's a fantastic, fantastic spot. Hvar, of course, is a very, very cultural island, and no island in the world has more UNESCO heritage than Hvar. It has 6 in total, including the UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Starograd Plain, the Benedictine lace made of agave in Hvar Town itself. There is the Easter procession, Zakrižen, behind the cross. You have the Mediterranean diet. You also have dry stone walling, and you have the clapper singing from southern Dalmatia. This is one more thing that shows what a cultural island this is, in addition to all the beauty, the lavender and the beaches that it's perhaps better known for. It's also a very safe island, as is the whole of Croatia, but Hvar especially more so because this is the birthplace of a chap called Ivan Vučetić, who is the godfather of dactyloscopy, which is the art of fingerprinting. Vučetić was born on the island, but emigrated to Argentina, where he became a policeman. He was the first person ever to use blood-stained footprints to solve a crime, and you can see a statue at the end of the main square, and a plaque with his birthplace on the river itself. In 2023, Ivan Vučetić was remembered even more when there was the opening of the Ivan Vučetić Museum in Hvar Town, which is now open on a daily basis and well worth a visit. But in terms of history, magnificent, fantastic views. There is nothing quite to beat the Spanish fortress, which is this imposing fortress up high above the town. It takes quite a few steps to get up there, but once you're there, it offers the most magnificent views of not only the town itself, but also the Pakleni Islands and around. And it's one of the most iconic views of Croatia itself. It dates back to Illyrian times, but really it was completed by the Venetians in the 16th century. And then when the town was destroyed by the Ottomans in 1571, a lot of people came and took refuge in the fortress. It itself was destroyed in 1579 when lightning struck. It's been beautifully restored, and it's a fantastic walk up there, and the views really are amazing. A must see when you come to Hvar Town. Hvar is also a very important gastronomy island. This, as I mentioned earlier, the Mediterranean diet from Hvar is UNESCO intangible heritage. It's also got the most indigenous grape varieties of any island in Croatia, 7 in total. When you come to the island, you can really experience the local flavours. Obviously, you've got the direct catch from the sea as well. And so there is a really, really great story of gastronomy to be told on the island. The winemakers have got fantastic things to offer, but also now there's been a really big increase in the number of wine bars and sort of that kind of tourism for evening entertainment. One of the oldest wine bars in Croatia, Tri Prosciutto, is still going in one of the back streets of Hvar Town, but it's been followed by many, many more. And so for people wanting to have a nice dinner and then go out and have a civilized glass of wine, there are many, many options to have, and it's a really, really fantastic variety of local wines. Definitely recommend Bogdanuša, which is the most famous white wine, Vučetić, another white wine, and Drnjača is a red variety, and of course Plavac Mali, which is the most famous red wine, but that goes across most of Dalmatia. It's a cultural beach, nightlife, everything island, but it's also a fantastic activity island. There are so many things to do in and around Hvar Town. You've obviously got the sailing. This is where the Bahrain Merida, Bahrain McLaren now, base their winter training for cycling for 3 years. And so you have a marathon going on Hvar. And so it's one of those islands where if you want to go hiking, walking, there are just so many different things to do. And in the shoulder season of April and May and September and October, when the crowds are less and the temperatures are a bit less, and it really is a different island to experience. And it's one of those islands where it has something different to offer for every month of the year, really. And depending on what kind of tourist you are, you can get the most out of Hvar for yourself. It's just one of those islands that has absolutely everything. I've been blessed to call it my home for 13 years of my life, the longest I've ever lived anywhere. It's a great place.